So Guild Wars 2 recently came out with a content roadmap and their plans for future content. In it, they announced a lot, but the thing that I want to focus the most on in this video are new expansion cycles and the features that ArenaNet says will come with them. When this studio update came out, I was in the process of writing my review for the game, and one of my biggest gripes with it was its content delivery. I thought the developers didn't release content at a consistent enough pace to be compelling to players that aren't already enfranchised. And to put it into perspective, the wait between the previous expansion, Path of Fire, and the newest expansion, End of Dragons, was a whopping 5 years. Of course, there was the Living World season, aka mini expansion, the Icebrood saga that came out in between, but those aren't on the same level of actual expansions. And okay, that example may be a little disingenuous because that was the release between the previous expansion and the current one, so let's talk End of Dragons for a second. EOD came out February 28th, 2022, and since then, there's been no new content for the game. You could say the re-release of Living World Season 1 was new content, but I don't consider that the case because it's just old content that was just made available again. The studio update didn't say exactly how frequently new expansions would come out, but they did promise quarterly updates on expansions which would function similarly to Living Worlds. But instead of them being pseudo-standalone paid-for updates, they'll be baked into the expansions themselves. Personally, I think this is a great change for the game as Living World and expansions have vastly different value propositions, even when it comes to comparing different items of the same category. I think every Guild Wars 2 player that seriously tried to get into gearing have purchased single episodes of Living World so they could get specific gear pieces, then ignored the rest of the season because it has no value outside of that. Having these be consolidated into one expansion purchase I think will eliminate a lot of confusion between the value of expansions and Living Worlds. I think MMOs live and die by how often they're updated, no matter how good the game actually is, and Guild Wars isn't an exception to this. I'm pretty sure everyone that likes the game and tries to recommend it to people commonly hear the term dead game, no matter how many people are playing it. And why is that? It's perception. The game just doesn't release content at a consistent enough pace to get outside eyes on the game, but I think these quarterly updates are a gigantic step in the right direction. But something else that was mentioned that I'm pretty excited for are our new Fractal dungeons and strike missions. Starting with strikes, I had no doubt before the studio update that new ones would be developed, as it seems they're the new big focus of 10-man instance content. It's a big boss that people get hyped to fight, and I think a constant stream of new bosses will definitely get more eyes on the game. The ominous omission of raids does have me worried though. This has a lot more to do with personal preference over anything else. I really like raids and having these gigantic multi-encounter filled instances to work through. And I'd be a little sad if raids got pushed to the wayside in future updates. But I don't think raids are entirely out of the table for ArenaNet, so I'm just gonna have to wait and see what'll be done with them in the future. Fractals though, I'm really excited for. I think dungeon style content vastly carries MMOs, and I think more fractals will contribute a lot to alleviating a bit of boredom players would face doing the same like 25-30-ish fractals that's been going on for the last like fucking 2 years. The last thing I want to talk about is the mention of new rewards. I'm not exactly sure what they're going to be, but my hope is for some type of gear or better yet, mount skins. I think Guild Wars 2 has a bit of a problem with rewards in that they aren't directly exciting to get. What I mean by that is that most rewards you get from content is some form of currency, whether it be gold or currency you can redeem for gear pieces. I think that makes completing content feel lackluster because there's rarely this I got this cool thing moment once you finish some type of hard content. I know it's there. The first time I finished Old Lion's Court, I got the Ascended Hammer they could drop from it, and it felt really good getting it. But I can't tell you how many times I finish a strike or raid, open a chest, and go, oh great, more shards. I hope ArenaNet add more things that you could get as rewards as opposed to currencies, and I really hope they add mount skins as possible rewards too. I think it'd be great to have access to mount skins outside of the gem store, but I'm not sure if that's within ArenaNet's scope of new rewards, but I can only hope. I'm really excited to see what's going to be added to Guild Wars 2, and I'm interested in what you guys are excited about or hoping for with these new updates in the comments below. As always, thank you for watching, and until next time, stay safe.